welcome back. This is Gina from Tight Ship Mama. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about back to school and all the papers that go with it. Your kids come home with so much stuff, but we don't need it to clutter up our lives. So I'm going to introduce you today to the third member of my Tight Ship Mama organizing team. You have met the special bin. You have met the budget book or my budget diary or the book. Now I want to introduce you to the black binder or the binder as we sometimes refer to it. In this binder, which is a 1-inch 3-ring binder, I keep, it just so happens to be 19 of these pages that are the sleeve protectors. There are 3 categories that I keep in the binder. And this is just what works for me. I kind of came upon this a few years ago and it's just what worked. So you could probably do better if you are more into your electronic calendars and that sort of thing. But I am still a paper girl, as you might have picked up on. So that's why I do like to have some sort of paper in my life. So the first category of things that I keep in the black binder are permanent things. Like each child has a birth certificate, their card from the bank, and all their latest health forms and immunization records. There's 1 page for myself in here, which I keep all of my clearances so that I can volunteer in the school. And even our dog has one of the sleeves of her information for her stuff for when she goes to her doggy daycare and I need her latest records and that sort of thing. Unfortunately, my husband doesn't have a sleeve in here. I'm not sure how that happened, but he just doesn't have one. We'll have to work on that for him. So anyway, that's the permanent category. The second level down is what I call semi-permanent. And these are the things that come home from school with the kids that I don't want to simply take a photo of to keep in my phone. So these are things that they've brought home for specific programs from school that might have passwords associated with them. So they have math programs and reading programs that they have passwords associated with. And there's a lot of information on the sheets, and so I just keep the whole thing. The other thing would be the information for the bus company, because if our kids aren't going to ride the bus in the morning, I need to call. And I know I could very easily put that information in my phone, but at 6 o'clock in the morning, if I haven't had my coffee, I do not want to be looking through my phone for the contact for the bus company. So it's the first page in the book. Other things are temporary or seasonal things. So for instance, you know my son is a Boy Scout, so when he is selling popcorn, we keep the order form in here, and when he comes home after each day of selling, we put the form back in here, and I do take a photo of that because we have learned the hard way that form can get thrown away inadvertently by a mom that likes to declutter. So anyway, we take a photo now, we learn the hard way. So that's what stays in the binder. And I go through and I purge as needed or as the season is over. You know, if there's the library programs, what's current, if they're reading books and they have to keep track, the logs, that kind of thing. It's temporary. So it's in the front pocket most times. And when that program is done, out that goes. So what do you do with the other stuff that comes home from school? It's a lot like dealing with the mail. The kids come home with it, it gets thrown on your counter, and you're like, oh my gosh, more. I know you're tired at the end of the day, but especially in the beginning of the school year, I would encourage you to stay up 10 minutes later and just deal with it ASAP, because it will probably taper off as the school year gets underway. But really look at each piece of paper and say, what is the information I need to retain from this paper without having to keep the physical piece of paper? So sometimes maybe it's, you know, the teacher's policy on snacks or birthdays or something like that. So maybe on the day that it's your kid's day that they're going to celebrate the birthday, you write on the calendar, this is what we can bring. If it's a field trip, respond as soon as possible. Get your check written, photocopy the health forms that need to be attached to it or your insurance card, get it all in ASAP. and then write down whatever information on your calendar that you need to have retained. So what's the date of the field trip? And do they have to wear a hat and bring sunscreen? If so, either write it on your calendar or put a reminder in your phone. Put it in your phone to go off the night before to remind you to set out the hat and the sunscreen. And then you can get rid of that piece of paper. A lot of times for temporary things like a field trip, I will take a photo of the information, and then when the field trip is over, it's deleted off of my phone. I do the same exact thing for wedding invitations and birthday party invitations. Especially kids' birthday parties. They come in throughout the school year. Deal with it ASAP. And please, RSVP to these moms. Come on. How many of us have thrown a birthday party and people do not RSVP anymore? People are spending a lot of money on these birthday parties. The very least we can do is RSVP. So I look at the invitation from the party. I look at the calendar. Can we go? If we can't go, boom, easy. You send the mom I'm sorry, we can't make it, RSVP. You get rid of it. There's no need to keep that. Put it out of your mind. We're done. If you can go, then text her right away and say, yes, we can come. Take a photograph of the invitation with a little note. I will write on the invitation, RSVP'd on this day. I take a photograph of it and I throw away the actual invitation and I write the date on the calendar, and I know that if it's in my calendar that I have a photograph of it in my phone. A lot of information comes into our house via the old backpack. So my best advice to you is go through it as soon as possible, remove the information that needs to be retained, and get rid of the physical evidence. Have a great week. I will see you next Monday.